Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope you all are happy and healthy. Dear children, as you all know, that COVID-19 pandemic has gripped the entire nation, resulting into lockdown. Uh, this is a very difficult time for all of us children. But yeah, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity, and this precarious situation has opened the doors for those things or activities which we used to crave for. And I must say that out of these activities, a very significant one is spending a quality time with our parents and siblings, having a lot of fun with them, talking a lot with them, listening to childhood anecdotes from them, playing a lot with them, and as they are young, they definitely would give us a very tough fight. But you see, children, the time will not remain same, and our parents will not remain young forever. A time may come when they will uh, lack shine and brightness. A time may come when they will look very weak and feeble. A day may come when we may have a fear of losing them permanently. And all these things happen, children, when the person attains old age. Dear children, when our parents attain this old age, the question arises, how will we react and deal with this particular phase of our parents' life? And this is what we are going to study in the very first poem of our class 12th Flamingo book, My Mother at 66. And we will find how the poet, the daughter, reacts with this situation. So let us get ready to study the first poem of this book, dear children. Before I move ahead with the poem, let us know about the poet of this poem, Kamla Das. Kamla Das is a very renowned poet. She is known for her versatility and originality. She was born on 31st March 1934 in Malabar, Kerala, and died on 31st May 2009 in Pune. Her pen name was Madhavikutty. Actually, Malayalam literature she wrote using the pen name Madhavikutty, and uh, English literature she wrote with the pen name Kamla Das. As I told you, children, she is a very excellent poet, novelist, and short story writer. She has written many notable works, Alphabet of Lust, My Story, and many more. And themes, actually, her themes, as it is, as you can see on the screen, quest for identity, feminism, and complex human relationships. So, these are the common themes in her writing, and she has written on a variety of topics, dear children. Now, the time has come to go through the poem, and let's read the poem first. Dear children, I would request you that when I recite the poem for you, you please observe the poem. Observe the rhyme scheme, observe the rhythm, observe the thoughts, and try to extract the meaning or the theme from the poem. I hope you understood what I want from you. So let us get ready. Here the poem for you. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, dozed, open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. But soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees squinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, worn, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. All I did was smile and smile and smile. I think, children, the recitation is clear to you, and you would have understood something about the poem also. Um, as I already asked you to think about the rhyme scheme, about the rhythm and all, and try to find out the meaning and the theme of this poem, you would have been successful in this regard. Uh, okay, let me recite it one more time so that you can find out in a better way. Okay, so here I go one more time. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doze, open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away and looked out at young priests sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, worn, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. Fine, children, I hope everything is clear to you. So, let us discuss certain aspects of this poem. You would have observed, children, first thing, as I had asked you about rhyme scheme and rhythm, you would have witnessed no particular rhyme, no rhythm, means this particular poem is an example of free verse. Free verse, where there is no rhyme and there is no particular rhythm. One thing. Next thing, you would have observed, children, that the whole poem is written in a single sentence punctuated by commas. What does it indicate? It indicates that the complete poem, actually, it is a single thought. It is a single thought, and this is because of the flood of emotions triggered by the condition of a aging mother. This is the second thing. Next thing, you would have observed, as I had asked you to think about uh, the meaning of the poem, the outline of the poem, theme of the poem, you would have understood something, that this poem is about daughter-mother relationship. Second thing, you would have observed that the mother has grown old, and because of this, the poet has certain you can say worries, and she has a fear in her mind that she may lose her mother in due course of time. So these certain things you would have understood, children, and now when we would be going through the lines, you'll understand the poem in a far better way. So let us move forward and contemplate at the theme of this poem. It is already visible on the screen. You can see that the poem is based on the theme of advancing age. Advancing age means, you can say, the aging of the mother and the fear of loss and separation associated with it. And then, as I already told you, this poem is a sensitive portrayal of a daughter's anguish. Anguish means pain, agony, and fear on seeing her mother, who is in her twilight years, declining years. So this is the poem, children. You will have grasped a fair amount of idea about this poem, I hope, children. Now this is the paraphrasing. So you can see the lines in front of you, and we will be having the explanation of these lines, and along with these lines on the screen you will be finding difficult words and their meanings, and then the poetic devices, and we will discuss the important questions from the examination's point of view also. So here you see, driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning. The situation is there, children, that the poet is at her parents' home. She must have gone to visit her mother, and now there was a time to return home. So she was driving, to the Cochin airport last Friday morning. right? So the day is also mentioned, the time is also mentioned, last Friday morning. And as she was in the car, accompanied by her mother, on the way, what she observed that her mother, I saw my mother beside me, doors open mouthed. So she observed that her mother was dozing, meaning you can see doze means a light sleep, drowse. So she was, she fell asleep and her mouth was open. So I don't think that this was a new thing for her. She would have observed the same things before also. But this time there was a realization, and this realization was different. So what she observed that her mother was taking a light sleep. She was dozing open mouthed. After some time, when she glanced again at her, she was shocked to see the dull, lifeless, colorless, bloodless face of her mother, which indeed looked like that of a corpse. You can see the line, children. Her face ashen like that of a corpse. Ashen means colorless, bloodless, you can see, and corpse means a dead body. So now this time she realized that her mother has grown terribly old, and her mother had lost the glow on her face and her body, and her face was looking like that of a corpse. So you can understand that, children, in these particular lines are very simple, words are very simple, you could easily understand, but the fact that we need to understand that here poet has the realization that her mother is marching towards the death. So this is what the realization is. Poetic devices, you can see, children. uh, I saw third line, I saw my mother beside me. Here my mother, you can see the initial sound of these two closely associated words, my mother, ma sound, and that's why this poetic device is alliteration, right? And the next one is a beautiful simile. Her face ashen like that of a corpse. Simile means a comparison between two different things with the help of the words like or as. So her face ashen like that of a corpse means the comparison of the dull, old, lifeless, and withered face of her mother with that of a corpse. So this is an example of simile. Now you see, children, how the questions are asked from this poem and the extract. Let me tell you that this particular poem is very much important from examinations point of view. And 1 mark extract based questions and 2 mark very short answer type of questions are asked from this poem. Uh, I have given you the questions which were asked in the previous board examinations. You can see very common question which is asked in the extracts. Name the poem and the poet. You can easily answer the poem My Mother at 66 and the poet Kamla Das. Where was the poet going to and with whom? You would have understood, children. The poet was going to the Cochin airport and with her mother, with her old mother. What did the daughter notice inside the car? Whenever 1 mark question is asked to you, children, please give straightforward answer. The daughter noticed inside the car. What did she notice? She noticed that her mother was dozing open mouthed. And now 2 mark question. How does the poet describe her mother? So here, as it is a 2 mark question, children, word limit you need to take care of. And you describe her mother, like I told you that her mother was looking dull, was looking pale, colorless, bloodless, and it seemed that she has lost the fervor of life. So you can answer this way. You can add other words also to your answer. So I hope you would have understood these lines. Now let us move towards the next lines. And realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. first of all, and realized with pain. Who realized with pain? Daughter, means the poet. She realized with pain. Now what did she realize? She realized that she was as old as she looked. Who is she here? She is the mother. She is old mother of the poet. So she realized with pain that her mother, her mother is has become old now, and this thing she realized with pain. This was a very painful thought. You see, children, you try to understand that before this also she would have observed all these things, but realization was there, and this realization was very painful. A sudden fear and agony cropped in her mind, and now this particular realization was very much alarming. She was not ready to accept the fact that her mother was old, and old means she was inching towards her approaching death. This was a very harsh reality. This was a very harsh realization, and this is what she is making here. So, and realized with pain, this was a very painful thought, unbearable thought, intolerable thought. So, that her mother has grown old, and she was, you can say, when she thought all these things, um, she wanted to drive away this thought. This was very distracting thought, very she this thought upset her. So she wanted to put this thought away. She wanted to shrug off and to drive herself away from this thought. What she did, she looked outside the car, and when she looked outside the car, she saw young trees sprinting and many children spilling out of their homes. So you see that the situation inside the car is different as compared to the things which she was witnessing outside the car. Inside the car, she was having a, a terribly old mother whose face was dull, was pale, was lifeless, was withered, and she was giving an impression of the end of life. When she looked outside, she saw young trees sprinting, many children spilling, and these things were giving her the impression of life, giving her the impression of energy, vitality, spontaneous energy. So, this is what, children. Now, let me tell you why, first of all, what these words, young trees sprinting, mean. Children, young trees sprinting. You can see the meaning of the word sprinting also. Sprinting means short, fast race or running. So, young trees, when she looked outside, she found trees. And the trees were sprinting, trees were running in the opposite direction. And why it happened? It happened because of optical illusion. Optical illusion. Whenever you sit in car, children, you see that whenever you sit in a car or a train, you find that the trees outside, these vehicles, they run in the opposite direction. This is optical illusion. Okay, and now the question arises is why poet has used these words? Why did poet take the help of these words, and what does the poet want to tell us through this? So young trees sprinting, actually it is a symbol. It is a symbol of life. It is a symbol of energy, strength, vitality. Next, the merry children spilling out of their homes. Merry children means happy children. You can see the meaning also, joyous, happy, great. And spilling means running out. And then she, witnesses one more scene of happy children, joyous children, outbursting from their homes and enjoying their lives. So what these, again, these merry children spilling out. This is also symbolic, and this actually tells us about, as I already told you, children, energy of life, vitality, spontaneous flow of energy. So this is the you can say the meaning of this particular line, the merry children spilling out of their homes. Now the next question, children, may crawl in your mind is why did the poet use these symbols? So let me tell you, children, poet has beautifully created a scene of contrast. Here She wanted to tell you the difference between two lives. One life inside the car, life outside the car. Inside the car, old, pale, lifeless mother who was moving towards her impending death. Outside the car, the life, young trees and merry children, they are symbolizing energy, life. Inside the car, there was a lady who was moving towards death. The curtain was falling. The curtain of her life was about to fall. And outside, the curtain was rising. And the children, they were bubbling with energy. So, this is the contrast that the poet has tried to create here. And the poetic devices, I already told you, young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes, symbols, and as old as she looked, it is a simile. And then, now children, I hope you would have understood. So, in these particular lines, the poet has tried to create a scene of contrast. She has compared her mother with the life outside. Now, the questions which are generally asked, because these questions were asked in the previous board examinations. What thought did the poet try to drive away from her mind? The thought of her aging mother. What did she see when she looked out of the car? Please try to answer this question, children. What did she see? She saw young trees sprinting and the merry children spilling out of their homes. What did the poet realize with pain? The poet realized with pain that her mother was moving or inching towards her death. What did the images of young trees and merry children symbolize? I already told you, children, that young trees and merry children, they symbolize strength, life, energy, and vitality, vigor. Okay, this is what they symbolize. So I hope you would have understood these lines, children. Let us move ahead. But after the airport's security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, worn, pale as a late winter's moon. So, you see here, children, now the poet and mother, they arrived at the airport, and as you all know, children, before boarding the flight, so many security checkups take place, and lot of formalities, take place there. So there was a security check. Actually, the doctor was boarding the plane. So security check was there, and mother was standing a few yards away. Yard means it is already given there, a unit of length equal to 3 feet. Means she was at a distance from her. So the security check was taking place there, and mother was away from her. I looked again at her. So after the formality where the poet was engaged, after when everything was completed, she realized that her mother was there. So she looked again at her. She looked again, and it is quite usual. There is nothing different here, children. She looked again. She looked again at her mother. Why did she? Because first of all, you can see that it is a normal thing. She looked at her, and next thing, she looked at her to reassure herself about the well-being of her mother, because now she was very much worried about her mother. But when she looked at her, what she found, that her mother was worn. Worn means, children, you see the pronunciation of this particular word, it's worn. The spelling is W-A-N. Worn means weak, feeble, bloodless, right? Worn, pale as a late winter's moon. A beautiful simile has been used here, children. Mother has been compared. Mother has been compared with a late winter's moon. The question arises as why the poet has compared her mother with a late winter's moon. So let me tell you first about late winter's moon, children. A late winter's moon means the moon which appears in the end of the season. Next thing, this particular late winter's moon lacks luster, lacks shine and brightness due to the fog and mist. Means the moon actually will behind fog and frost and mist, and because of this, it lacks luster. And at the same time, it signifies the end of a season. Right now, when you compare these things with mother, so here mother also lacks brightness, shine, and the way late winter's moon signifies, indicates, denotes the end of a season, same way mother also denotes the end of her life. So that's why children, the mother has been compared with a late winter's moon. So I hope you would have understood these lines. So significance of these lines is this only, that there is a beautiful comparison between her mother and the late winter's moon. Poetic device is already there on the screen, children, and I have already explained this to you. Now let us see the questions, which are asked in the examination. So here the questions are: where was the poet? You can easily answer. Poet was at the airport. Why does the poet look at her mother again? The poet looks at her mother again to reassure herself about the well-being of her mother. Name the poetic device used in the lines. In the line, pale as a late winter's moon, the poetic device used is simile. Why does Kamla Das compare her mother to a late winter's moon? This I have already explained to you, children. She compares her mother to a late winter's moon because her mother, has lost the shine, the radiance, the glow, and she was looking lifeless, she was looking bloodless, she was withered, and she was symbolizing the end of life. Okay, and the same thing was there with the late winter's moon also, right? So, this is the answer of this question. I hope, children, you would have understood these lines. Let's move towards the next lines. And felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. These lines are very much important, children, and you need to understand these lines very well. And felt that, first of all, who felt? The poet felt. What did she feel? She felt that old familiar ache. What is that old familiar ache? Here you see, children, familiar ache. Before you understand this, I want to tell you that at a very young age, the poet was separated from her mother. She would not, stay with her mother, and because of this, she could not take proper care of her mother. And now also, she was not able to take care of her mother because of her certain commitments. So she was pained over the situation. And I must say that this ache was more about the ache means pain, the meaning is already given there. This ache was more about the ache of helplessness. She was helpless to help her mother, to take care of her mother. This is what the old familiar ache. And then again the same thing, children, that she was fearful of losing her mother. So this is also the thing associated with this old familiar ache. Next, my childhood's fear. Now what is childhood's fear? Children, one thing is to be noted, that poet was very much intimately bound up with her mother. She was very close to her mother, and her mother was having, a huge influence on her, on her writing. So, as she used to love her mother very much, she was having a kind of, fear inside her. She was having a fear of losing her mother. She was having, the apprehension of, being separated from her mother. So this was her childhood fear of losing her mother one day. I hope you understood what this childhood fear is. Yes. Next, but all I said was, see you soon, Amma. Now, the time actually has arrived to bid farewell to her mother, and she parts, and at last she says, see you soon, Amma. Now you see here, children, see you soon, Amma. See you soon, Amma. You can easily understand that here the poet is giving a kind of assurance to her mother that they will meet again. See you soon. That they will meet again. But the reality is a bit different, children. She was knowing the fact that she may not see her mother again. And the reason you all know that her mother was terribly old now. But still, she was giving an assurance. And then all I did was smile and smile and smile. You can see the word smile repeated three times. And as this word is repeated in that particular line, this is a figure of speech, and this figure of speech is repetition. It is written there already. So now all I did was smile and smile and smile. So here she was giving a cheerful, farewell to her mother, and it is quite natural. Whenever we bid farewell, we generally give this very cheerful, we present cheerful countenance. So it is quite natural. But actually, this smile, through this smile, she wanted to hide. She wanted to mask her pain, her agony, her fear of losing her mother. I hope you would have understood, children, what these particular lines signify. See you soon, Amma, and smile and smile and smile. Uh, okay, so I hope you would have understood. So these lines talk about the familiar ache, childhood's fear, and then the cheerful, you can say, farewell, which actually, where actually there was a fear and pain hidden. So I hope you all would have understood. Now let us see the questions, general questions asked on the basis of this extract. Who is I here? So you can see, you can easily write I here is the poet or the daughter. What was poet's childhood fear? Already I told you, children, childhood fear was that she might lose her mother one day, or her she might be separated from her mother one day. What does the phrase familiar ache mean? This phrase familiar ache means again same ache, same pain of aging, decay, that one day her mother won't be there with her. What is the significance of the parting words of the poet and her smile? I already told you, children, the parting words actually, give assurance to her mother and herself that everything will be alright and they will be meeting again. But actually, the fact is different. So, this is the poem, children. I hope you would have understood every word, every phrase, and this complete poem. Now, the thing is, what do we learn from this poem? Do we have any moral in this poem? Definitely, children. We learn a lot from this poem, and you can think over this. And here you can see the next slide. The moral that we get, first one is written here for you. We should show our love, affection, and concern for our parents. We should always love them because they are very much concerned for us, and they love us a lot, and they take care a lot, and they have made a lot of sacrifices for us. So in turn, it is our responsibility to love them because a time may come when they will not be with us, and we may regret for that. So here it is written, we should show our love, affection, and concern for our parents. We should never forget to take care of them, especially when they are elderly and need us the most. So this is our responsibility, children, that we should love our parents, we should take care of our parents. And then the next one is time or aging spares none. So we should utilize time well, and we know that we will not remain younger all the time. So we should use our time constructively, and we should love everyone. So this is the moral. And I hope you would have understood this entire poem, children. So let us have a quick recapitulation of this poem. So now you can see the points. The poet is driving from her parents' home to Cochin by car. Her mother by her side, she was sleeping, dozing, open mouthed, and she was looking very pale, colorless, and frail like a dead body, indicating that her end was near. Next year, children, the poet looks at her and feels intense pain and agony to realize that death will cast off her mother soon from her. Now she tries to divert her mind, looks outside at the young trees and happy children bursting out of their homes in a playful mood, a contrasting image. After the security check at the airport, the doctor looks at her mother again, looks at the face, which was pale and cold, like a late winter's moon. Next, familiar ache, my childhood fear. The poet has always had a very intimate and close relationship with her mother. This I already discussed with you. And she has always felt the fear of being separated from her mother. Hence, it is familiar. At last, the poet reassures her mother that they will meet again. And with this, children, the poem comes to an end. I hope you all would have understood the poem. Uh, this is all, children. Thank you so much. Stay home, stay safe, stay enlightened, and enjoy the online classes conducted by KVS RO Jabalpur. Thank you, one and all.